What's going on, guys? It's Jake from the Sanctum Squad. Today I want to talk about the Power of the Fellows structure deck that is due to be released in September later on this year in the OCG, and then we'll probably get it like February time next year in the TCG. So Power of the Fellows is a deck that's based around Yusei Fudo, and Power of the Fellows is the name of Junk Warrior's effect in the anime. So like, you know how certain cards have like attack names and effect names. It's just the name of Junk Warrior's effect. So, based on this is the only information we have at this current moment in time about the deck. So, this video we're just going to try and make a few like maybe like little predictions about like what the deck could like possibly give us, and maybe like just give us a little bit of an idea of some cards to pick up. Maybe if you're looking to pick up this deck and you want like maybe higher rarity versions of the cards, because I'm definitely interested in it. So, Junk Warrior. We're assuming this card is going to be important in the deck because the deck is named after it. Basically, it just requires Junk Synchron, who is this guy, and then any other non-tuner monsters to summon it. And then just on its summon, it gains attack equal to the total attack of all the level 2 or lower monsters you control. So this card not very impressive on its own, but what I imagine will happen is one of two things realistically. The idea will be is that you either summon this card to be a bridge to make a different synchro monster maybe, or alternatively there could be a card in the deck which actually just cheats out Junk Warrior and summons it for free. We have seen effects like this before, like Excel Synchro Stardust Dragon does it for Stardust Dragon, and we've also seen it before as well with the Scarred Red Dragon Archfiend in the the Crimson King structure deck. So either one of those is a possibility, but we are assuming that it is going to have like a place in the strategy. And then the next card I want to talk about is Junk Speeder. So at this current moment in time, the Synchron deck it's not a very competitive deck at all. But the strategy of all Synchron decks at the minute is to summon Junk Speeder and resolve the effect. And then usually from that point on, if it goes like if you resolve the Junk Speeder and it's like successful, you're probably in a good position to win the game at that point because there's so many different options that you can go down at that point, like with the amount of advantage you get. So what this card does is on its synchro summon, you special summon as many synchron tuner monsters from your deck, not even tuner monsters, just synchron monsters from your deck as possible, in defense position, with different levels. So yeah, this card's obviously very powerful and it does add a lot of context into the rest of the synchron cards. So we'll move on to the main deck now. So the first thing I want to talk about and what I think is like really important for the structure deck and what I want from the structure deck, is a one card starter. So Synchrons do not at this point have a one card starter. The closest thing they have is Junk Converter, which by the way isn't even a Synchron card, so it's quite hard to search. The only thing that you've got in the game that searches this card is Reinforcements of the Army, which is unfortunately limited. And what this card does is it discards itself and a tuner monster to search for a Synchron. So then what you'd do is you'd search Junk Synchron and then normal summon the Junk Synchron, revive the Junk Converter, and then you get to make your Junk Speeder that way. Alternatively, I think what the most popular version of the Synchron deck though is an adventure version, which uses an adventure package, a bunching on engine, and then it uses just the best Synchron monsters. You like Jet Synchron is basically the best Synchron monster in that version, because it gets into speeder with the adventure token, and it makes the Excel Stardust Synchro with the level 7 Griffin Rider. But yeah, so what we really want is a one card starter. So I think one of three things will possibly happen. So the first one is they could just make a new Synchron monster that is a one card starter in and of itself. That means that you can like search it off tuning and you can search it off on your mark get set duel, or you could just like actually open the Synchron and like have it like a one card play just that way. Alternatively, what they could do is they could make another card. Maybe they make Junk Converter searchable, and then like the Junk Synchron route becomes a little bit more viable. I do think that is definitely a possibility as well because that is like playing more into the Junk Warrior theme of the deck. What they could also do is they could create an extender that Stardust Synchron can search. Stardust Synchron on summon, it searches for a spell or trap that lists Stardust Dragon in its text, from the deck to the hand. So, just as an idea, imagine if they created a token summoner that like summons a token, mentions Stardust in the text in some way. That would make Stardust Synchron a one card starter as well. So yeah, any of those three possibilities, I think is I really want to see that. Because I think that's going to be an important step in making this deck a little bit more competitive, because at the minute it's just a very it's an inconsistent, clunky mess, basically. So yeah, let's talk about the Synchron monsters. So Jet Synchron, it's a level 1 tuner, and it's got two effects. It says if it's used to synchro material and sent to the graveyard, you get to search for a junk monster from your deck to your hand, which is like this card is competitive. It has been used in like competitive decks before, but that effect has probably never been used ever in like a competitive tournament. The good effect of this card is when it's in the graveyard, you can send a card from your hand to the grave to special summon it from the grave, and then it's banished when it leaves the field. So it's just a level 1 tuner that recurs itself. And at this present moment in time, this is the best level 1 Synchron monster. So this is going to be like your best level 1 target for Junk Speeder. So yeah, so I think this card potentially is a safe pickup. Something that you do have to bear in mind is that if Konami do create new Synchron monsters, and one of them happens to be like level 1, then it makes, like, this is true for all of the Synchrons, then it makes this card less important in the deck, because it will mean that like your Junk Speeder can just summon the new Synchron out of the deck rather than having to play Jet Synchron, because Jet Synchron, like as it stands, doesn't really like there aren't really any like amazing combos that you can do with just like Jet Synchron in the context of all it does is it revives itself. So like if they make one that like does something a little bit better, then it could replace Jet. But it is true for all the Synchrons, where if they release new Synchrons of certain levels, it will make the other Synchrons of that level less relevant, because Junk Speeder can only summon different Synchrons of different levels. But in my opinion, I'm going to pick up a Jet Synchron. I know it comes in Collector Rare, which is like its highest rarity. So I'm definitely going to pick up one just in case there isn't a new level 1 broken Synchron monster. And then, so the next one is the Assault Synchron, which is the best level 2 Synchron monster. So all it does is it just summons itself from the hand. And then when it's in the grave and your Dragon Synchron monster is either tributed or banished, you can banish Assault Synchron from the grave to revolt, like bring the monster back. This effect is really good. You can use it with cards like Shooting Majestic Star Dragon to like use their effects more than once, and which is quite cool. But yeah, so like Assault Synchron is definitely the best level 2 Synchron monster at this point in time, before like assuming the structure deck doesn't have a better level 2. So I'm definitely going to pick up one of these. I think that these come in Quarter Century Secret Rare, I think was its original print. So yeah, I'm definitely going to pick one of those up. And then we got Junk Synchron, who is like he is the most iconic Synchron monster. They could very easily build the deck for you to like use Junk Synchron in like your plays. So for that reason, I think Junk Synchron is definitely worth picking up. I'm not sure how many I'm going to pick up, because like I'm going to pick up one Jet, I'm going to pick up one Assault Synchron. I will probably only pick up one Junk Synchron as well, and then if they do release cards that say that you should be playing more than one Junk, then I'll just buy the extra copies afterwards. And then the next one we got Revolution Synchron. This one is very similar to Jet and Assault Synchron, where it is just in a vacuum the best level 3 Synchron monster that exists in the game at the moment. So its hand effect basically lets you synchro summon using it in your hand, which means that it doesn't like require to be normal summoned or anything like that. And then when it's in the grave and you control a level 7 or higher Synchron monster, you can send the top card of your deck to the grave to special summon it back, so it's like a glow up bulb. And that effect is once per duel, I believe, yeah. So yeah, this is just the best level 3 Synchron tuner, so for that reason I'm going to pick up one, just on the off chance that they don't make a better level 3 Synchron monster. The next one is Quick Draw Synchron. So Quick Draw Synchron is a little bit more unique because I think like as far as I've seen in builds like of either pure Synchrons or the Adventure Synchrons, they generally don't use Quick Draw Synchron. I think the main reason is because Quick Draw Synchron can only be used as for a Synchro Summon for a monster that requires a Synchron monster as material. And the options for the Quick Draw Synchron are actually like really limited. So we got them all here in the side deck. So like Road Warrior, like all of these require certain Synchron monsters to be summoned. So like these are the only Synchro monsters that Quick Draw Synchron can actually make, along with the Junk Warrior and the Junk Speeder. The problem is that like none of these cards are particularly like fantastic. Road Warrior is pretty good, but like it's actually going to be quite difficult to make a Road Warrior with a Quick Draw Synchron. Drill Warrior is also quite cool, but like I'm not sure how this card holds up in the modern game. So for that reason, I'm probably not going to pick up any quick draw synchrons at all. And like I'm going to wait until the structure deck is revealed, and then if it shows me that I need to pick up quick draw synchrons, then I'll pick them up. The next card is Wheel Synchron. So this card is unique because it's the only Synchron monster that you can summon off of Junk Speeder that can be treated as a non-tuner, which is pretty important because Junk Speeder is a level 5 non-tuner. It then summons 4 to 5 monsters out the deck. And if you summon this, like it's quite cool that you've got like an additional non-tuner to play with. So yeah, for that reason, I think this card it's got a bunch of good effects as well. Gives you an additional normal summon, and it lets you level manipulate from the grave. For that reason, I'm definitely going to pick up one of these just because it's the best level 5 target for Junk Speeder. But yeah, I'm kind of hoping that they don't make this card important to play because it is just going to be like a hard break. You can't really do anything if you draw it. But yeah, the next card is Stardust Synchron. So like I said, this card could very easily become the starter of the Synchron deck, depending on how they want to give you like Stardust Dragon support in the same deck. I'm definitely going to pick up at least one of these because it is the best level 4 target to search off of the to summon off the speeder. And it also this card's pretty important as well because it searches for Stardust Illumination. So when you search for this, and then like you continue comboing, you can then activate the Illumination to special summon Stardust Trailer of your deck, which is the next card. And this is a non-tuner, and it also like produces more non-tuners for you to play with. So it produces tokens, comes out the grave when something's tributed. It's quite a cool card. It is a little bit of a brick, like you don't really want to draw Trail and you don't particularly want to open Illumination either. But if they do base the deck around Stardust Synchron a little bit more, pardon me, these will probably be a part of the strategy. So yeah, Stardust Trail, probably going to definitely pick up one just because if they do base the deck around Stardust Synchron, then it's going to be an important part of the deck. I think this card does have a hollow printing. I think it comes in Ultra. So yeah, I think you're definitely worth picking up because it's really cheap. You've got to bear in mind that like most of these cards are quite cheap if you want them in just like a foil rarity. It's only if you're after like max rarity stuff that it's going to get quite expensive because like Quick Draw Synchron comes as a Turbo Pack Super, Revolution Synchron and Assault Synchron both come in QCR. Jet Synchron comes in like Collector Rare. So yeah, the next card is Junk Converter, of course. If they do base the deck around Junk Synchron and you normal summoning Junk Synchron to make plays, this card's probably going to be quite good, to be honest. But yeah, I'm not happy about it because I don't really like this card because it's just like a neg one when you activate it. You discard itself and another card to search for one card. But yeah, if they decide to build it around Junk Synchron, this card's probably going to be good. The next card is Doppler Warrior. So this card is not usually played in the adventure deck. It's usually played in like the pure deck. And I think this card is quite good. It's not like obviously it's not hard once per turn. It's too old to be hard once per turn. And it produces quite a lot of advantage when you are using it to like synchro climb and stuff. So I think Doppler Warriors probably are worth picking up. Now, I do think though that if we get like a new wave of support. And like Doppler Warrior like isn't like a searchable part of the deck like and without Rota being back at 3, I don't think the deck's going to be like amazing if that is like the case still. But this card is in a vacuum like quite powerful. It comes in Quarter Century Secret Rare as well, and they are quite cheap at the minute, so maybe these are worth picking up. I'll probably buy them. Just to make sure I have them in case. That card is Quillbelt. So these next few cards, these are not cards that I think are important to pick up or anything like that, but these are cards that I think could potentially get retrained. So Quillbolt, Tuning Wear, Speed Warrior, Sonic Chick, Turbo Booster, and Level Eater. And maybe even a Fet Veiler. Like there could be potential retrains here because these are all cards used by Yusei in the anime. And a lot of them are they're quite like iconic to Yusei, but like if you look at them, like a lot of them are actually just useless. So like Speed Warrior is pretty useless, Sonic Chick is pretty useless, Turbo Booster not very good. So like these could be cards that could potentially get like retrained into like being like maybe synchrons that treat themselves as like non-tuners or something like that. which would like make this deck like just because this deck has good tuner monsters, it just doesn't really have very good non-tuner monsters, which is why like the better versions of the deck rely on like the adventure token and like the Griffin Rider to be like synchro material, because there just isn't very good a generic synchro material that you can use other than that in the game. I think Tuning Wear is quite a cool card. It lets you draw a card if you use the synchro material, and it lets you like treat it as at level 2. Quillbolt as well, I don't think he's like a completely useless card. Level Eater, I think what could potentially happen is they could actually errata this card and then bring it off the ban list. So if this card locked you into synchro monsters, it'd be a much more fairer card, just so that you couldn't use it as link material. But yeah, that's it for sort of like the retrains. I think what could be cool is if they like sort of retrained Veiler in a way, and just made like another generic good hand trap. I think that could be quite a cool way to sell like a generic hand trap to the player base, because I don't think we've ever had a brand new generic hand trap releasing a structure deck before, and I just think that would be quite a cool way to like give us another hand trap to play with as well. And then for some of the spell cards, we've got On Your Mark, Get Set, Duel and Tuning, which are functionally the same. On Your Mark, Get Set, Duel on activation lets you search for a synchron if you control no other cards. And then it's got another effect where during the standby phase it places a signal counter on itself. And then it says that you can remove 2 signal counters from your field and send it to the grave to draw a card and send a card from your hand to the graveyard, which is a pretty good effect. But like what I would want to see with like in terms of like that effect is I'd like to see a new card that maybe places signal counters somewhere for some reason. Like maybe they like implement a like, because there already is like card or other cards that require like signal counters, so that could also be a direction they take this deck in. So yeah, I think like this card is definitely worth picking up. I'm definitely going to buy QCRs of this because I'm adamant that they are going to make a one card starter that is a synchron monster, and if they make that real, then you're going to want this card. The same with Tuning. I already actually own Ultimate Rare Tunings, which is saves me like the hassle of like trying to find them because they are quite rare. But yeah, the same thing with Tuning. Like you do just want to see a synchron monster that's a one card starter. But like either way, if we are playing a synchron deck, whether we've got one card starters or not, you do want the searches for it. So yeah. The next card is Synchro Overtake. So this is a card that is currently used in the Adventure Synchron versions because it summons Jet Synchron out of the deck by revealing Jet Warrior in your extra deck. And what this does is it just gives you the level 1 tuner to be able to access the Junk Speeder with the Adventure token. And it gets you into like the Excel Stardust Synchro. Because like the idea is that you make this guy and then you tribute it to summon Stardust out of your extra deck, and then you Synchro using 2 monsters you control to make Speeder. And then your Speeder is going to be unaffected by card effects at that point. So it can't get like ashed or impermed or anything like that. But the thing, like with Synchro Overtake, I think it is a really good card in the Adventure Synchron version. But I think after a wave of support, this is a little bit like the Doppel Warrior thing, where if we're still having to use Synchro Overtake in the deck, then the deck probably failed in terms of supporting supporting the archetype properly. The best case scenario would be if they made a new synchron that was like a starter, and then at the same time they made a synchro monster in the extra deck that specifically listed that monster as material, and that way it'd actually be quite good. For the next card, it's Stardust Illumination. So this is just the best target that you can search off of Stardust Synchron, which we looked at a little bit earlier on. All it does is it sends Stardust Trail from the deck to the grave, or if you control a Stardust monster or a monster that mentions it, you can special summon the Stardust Trail from your deck instead. The next card is 1-for-1. Basically, this is just a Yusei Fudo card. He uses it quite a lot in the anime, and like it even got an alternate art which like features Sonic Chick and Quillbot Hedgehog in the artwork. So yeah, it'd be quite cool if like they made it so that we could use this card, and for it to actually be good. So maybe they give us like a Sonic Chick retrain. Maybe they create like Sonic Synchron, and it's like a mecha version of this card. Yeah, that could be quite cool. And then the last card is just Scrap Point Scarecrow. This is just a card that Yusei used in the anime a lot, and it's a card that they have retrained before, so I think it is definitely like within their scope to like retrain this again, whether it be like, could even be like a counter trap or something, like an actually like productive, good trap card instead of just being like an attack negate. And then for the rest of the synchro monsters that we haven't spoken about yet, a lot of them are just generic synchro monsters of basic, like of every level. So Crimson Dragon is a card that I think, but like all versions of Synchron's use, because it lets you access this guy. A lot of the time you summon two of these, and then you'll like use the effect of one of them on your opponent's turn, and then you'll bring it back with Assault Synchron. So you actually get to use the effect 3 times, which gives you like 3 negates. Punisher, you could also use the new level 11 from Alliance Insight as this. This is just a Crimson Dragon target for you to be able to bring this guy out. And then what you do is you jet synchron and this into another Crimson Dragon, and then like you sort of like target the Shooter Majestic with the Crimson Dragon to summon another Shooter Majestic, which is how you sort of do it. We've got Satellite Warrior, which is just like a generically good card for synchro decks. Doesn't require an actual synchro monster, which is quite cool. But yeah, like this card could be used. Dispatter combos with Omega, so like you take a card out the hand with Omega, you revive it with Dispatter, you Omega them again, and then they've now got banished cards, so you can use Dispatter's negate effect. Excel Stardust and regular Stardust. I will be very surprised if Stardust Dragon is not relevant in this deck in some way, because Stardust Dragon is, like you say, is boss monster. I'll not be surprised if they like make even more Stardust like boss monsters in the deck, like another final form for it. Yeah, so Omegas for the Dispatter. Crystal Wing is one of the cards that a lot of people use in their combos to be able to turn off Nibiru really early, or as early as possible. So yeah, I think like this card is just a good card. Like these are probably synchros that you probably already own as well, because a lot of them are like staples. And then we've got Stardust Charge Warrior, just lets you draw a card when you synchro summon it. In terms of you just going first and setting up a combo, having synchro monsters that just let you draw cards is a good thing, because they just become really good bridges. Yeah. TG Hyper Librarian, one of the most infamous synchro monsters to ever exist in the game. If this deck like lets you make this card early in your combo, and you've got like nib protection, then this deck was very successful in my opinion. Yeah, and then we've got Excel Synchron. This is just another combo card. It won't surprise me at all if this card is relevant for the combo. Jet Warrior, I think Jet Warrior is only relevant for Synchro Overtake. It's not like a bad card by any means, but like I'm not sure how relevant this is going to be. Yeah, so like they'd have to give us like really good non-tuner level 4 monsters for like this card to be like amazing. And then we've got all these guys who are like the quick draw synchron targets. Yeah, what they could even just retrain quick draw synchron, and it'd give you access to all of these cards as well. But like, I wouldn't really be going out of my way to pick up like Junk Berserker or like any of these. Like, I'd need to see them giving me a reason to pick up an Ultimate Rare Nitro Warrior, for example, or a Turbo Warrior, because like these cards are sort of like dead money if they don't get specifically supported, because they're not very good cards. Herald of the Arclight and Formula Synchron, probably cards that you already own if you're a Synchro fan. But yeah, I think like I'm definitely going to pick up a Formula Synchron. So yeah, that's it. Thank you for watching. Like, comment, subscribe.